Hashtag the explorer, freedom, discovery, and the restless spirit. Hey, welcome back. Today we're exploring one of the most magnetic archetypes in Jung's original framework, the explorer. And if you've ever felt that magnetic pull to go further, discover more, break free from what's safe or known, this one might resonate deeply with you. Imagine waking up and feeling like the world is too small, not in an arrogant way, but in the way a bird feels in a cage. There's an itch, a genuine restlessness that won't quit. For the explorer archetype, standing still feels like dying slowly. It's not just about travel or adventure, though those are expressions of it. It's about the constant internal drive to experience authenticity, to find what's real, to escape anything that feels false or confining. The explorer doesn't want to be told who to be. They want to discover who they actually are through lived experience. That's the inner world of this archetype, and understanding it changes everything about how you relate to them, or to yourself. If you recognize this pattern, the core motivation of the explorer is freedom, but freedom in a very specific sense. We're not talking about libertarian freedom or the absence of rules. We're talking about the freedom to be authentic, to find meaning through personal experience rather than inherited wisdom. Explorers are driven by curiosity that feels almost physical. They need to know what's around the corner. They need to test themselves against the world. According to Jung's framework, which was later expanded by researchers like Pearson and the Riso-Hudson tradition, the explorer is animated by a fear of being trapped, of being ordinary, of ending up in a life that doesn't feel genuinely theirs. This matters because everything they do tends to flow from that core motivation. Career changes, relationship patterns, the way they spend weekends, it all circulates around that gravitational pull toward authenticity and freedom. The deepest fear, underneath all the adventure-seeking, is irrelevance. It's the fear of waking up at 60 and realizing they never actually lived, never actually tested themselves, never actually found out who they were. That's the engine. Now, let's look at what explorers do brilliantly when they're operating from their strengths. The first major strength is adaptability. Explorers are genuinely skilled at navigating new environments and uncertainty. Where other archetypes freeze or demand a manual, explorers almost immediately start experimenting, asking questions, building mental maps. Think of someone who travels solo to a country where they don't speak the language and not only survives but thrives. That's the explorer gift. They can drop into ambiguity and stay resourceful. In professional contexts, this makes them exceptional during organizational pivots or when entering entirely new fields. They don't cling to the way things were done before. The second strength is authenticity seeking. Explorers have a built-in detector for bullshit. They're naturally attuned to what feels false versus genuine. This is why many explorers become storytellers, journalists, artists, or therapists. Any field where discerning and communicating what's real matters. They ask the questions other people won't ask. They call out incongruence. In relationships, this means they tend toward genuine connection rather than surface-level politeness. They want to know the real person, not the persona. The third strength is resilience through experience. Because explorers actively seek challenges and aren't afraid of failure, they develop and earn confidence. They don't just theoretically believe they can handle difficulty. They've been through it multiple times. This creates a kind of seasoned optimism. They know the world is hard and uncertain, and they've found their way through that before. It's not naive hope. It's tested hope. Those are the superpowers. But like every archetype in Jung's framework, the explorer has a shadow side, blind spots and patterns that create real suffering, both for themselves and those around them. The first shadow pattern is chronic restlessness. There's a version of this archetype that can never settle, never commit, never be satisfied with what they have. They're always chasing the next thing, the next experience, the next version of themselves. And the tragic part is, the restlessness often comes internally, not from external circumstances. So even when they get the adventure they were chasing, the satisfaction lasts maybe a few weeks before the hunger returns. This can destroy relationships, careers, and health. It looks like someone who quits good jobs, ends promising relationships, or burns out their body chasing the next peak experience. The shadow isn't the desire for growth. It's the inability to be present with what's already good. The second shadow pattern is a kind of grandiose individualism, the belief that rules and expectations simply don't apply to them. They're special, they're different, and common constraints are for ordinary people. This shows up as serial commitment avoidance, chronic lateness, financial irresponsibility, or an almost compulsive need to prove they can't be controlled. What they don't see is that this pattern isolates them. Real relationships and real accomplishment require some level of reliable presence and agreement. The shadow explorer mistakes rebelliousness for freedom. The third pattern is escapism disguised as exploration. There's a meaningful difference between exploring something and running from something. An explorer in shadow is often using adventure as a way to avoid genuine intimacy, stability, or the slower work of deep expertise. Travel becomes